Hey there, Elisa, half Asian Tarot Queen. Happy Black Friday. I am here packing up my shop. As you can see, there's some progress happening behind me. You have the Magician at the bottom of the deck, Manifestation, which is good because, yeah, we've been moving through a lot of blockages this week. It's been very intense. Just a shout out that I'm selling a bunch of restaurant equipment because I'm liquidating my vegan cheese factory here in Minneapolis. And yeah, it's been an emotional week of change and tumult and, you know, all of that. But there have been a lot of positive developments, and I was thinking, so a couple weeks ago, and there was a video called The Triumph of the Divine Feminine that I did just sort of on a lark because I had this weird dream about Selena Gomez. And, you know, I'm not really like, I don't really follow her or anything, but I just knew of her because she has lupus and I have lupus. And so I kind of identified with that part of her. And anyways, she was in this dream, and then I ended up tapping into this whole kind of like a storyline around the divine feminine, which is something that I just kind of tapped into by accident. And so I've been periodically checking in with that storyline, and I think I'm going to do that today just because it's Black Friday, and you know, it seems like there's been a lot of the storylines have really migrated towards the love angle this week. So I thought, okay, let's check in with the divine feminine and see where that's at. So we have the Death on the bottom. So, you know, some big change and shift that's been happening. Oh, and a star, wishes coming true. So some change, but some good things coming in. And yeah, like I have been kind of following Selena Gomez since I had that dream, and you know, the more I sort of like tap into her story, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, like I relate to a lot of her journey, and I'm really happy for her that, like, you know, she kind of rose above this sort of a sad situation, and she's, you know, channeled that into herself and her work, and so now she's kind of having a triumphant moment. And I think that's an inspirational story for, you know, the divine feminine archetype. So I see her as embodying that archetype at the moment, or, you know, and I'm drawing inspiration from that personally. So I don't know where that came from, but it just did. So I got some overall energies for this reading, and it's pretty positive. We've got the Ten of Pentacles. We have the Star again, so that's a pretty strong message for this reading. And then we have the Two of Pentacles. So I think what I'm taking from that is, you know, we pulled the Death. There's obviously a big change that's happening, but, you know, it's important, and this actually came up in yesterday's reading, or the day no, it was the new moon reading, and it was just like, you know, there was a really strong message of like not getting held back, you know, by the negative and everything that's being lost, because there's like obviously stuff that's kind of floating away that's like really meaningful and hard to let go of, but like to not focus on that because we want to bring this energy in, you know. And so I think you know, in the last couple of days, there's been, you know, this recurring message of just being intentional about not, you know, hanging on to that energy, and being very intentional about trying to let that go. And so I think this card sort of speaks to that struggle, and just, you know we have to let go of this stuff to bring in the new, you know, and it's hard, and there's like a conflict associated with that, but just like stay focused on this, because this is really good stuff, you know. It's like ultimate abundance and wishes coming true, you know. So, but you know, we're gonna have to ride a wave of change to get there. So, you know, don't get discouraged. Um, keep moving forward, and I'm gonna pull some cards from the Bianco Nero deck for the general energies of this reading. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, going back to the divine feminine archetype and, you know, the story of Selena Gomez, you know, like there's like, you know, some heartbreak that sort of was the impetus, you know, for her to like go on this journey of like personal, like reclaiming herself. And, you know, often those things go together. So it's like really important not to get lost in the moment of heartbreak, because, you know, it might be a trigger, you know, for a new journey. And so to keep that perspective is really important, especially when you're sort of at this vulnerable, like, you know, beginning stages of a change. You know, it can be disheartening, and like you can get lost in that. So it's like very important to harness your power. So that was the reading from yesterday, and the power of your mind, and focus it on moving forward and the positive, because no matter how sort of heartbreaking things seem in the moment, you know, it's a moment in time, and it's gonna pass. So, all right. So we have the Five of Swords on the bottom here. So yeah, obviously there's some heartbreak and loss, and, you know, decimation here. And it's heartbreaking, you know, like that's why there's this conflict here. But there's like a cost, you know, there's a cost to move forward, and that's part of the journey. I mean, it's important to keep this in perspective. Okay, so we have the Page of Cups here. So this is like a message of love, or, you know, the beginnings of some kind of new love opportunity, you know, some kind of emotional situation. And then we have the Knight of Wands. So this has been like actually coming up a lot in the last couple days, and it's interesting because now that we're kind of tapping into the story of this divine feminine, you know, this was in yesterday's reading. There was like this, so this is like a kind of like a player energy, you know, like a real passionate, like ladies man kind of guy who gets all the ladies, but's not really reliable, we'll just say, you know. And it looks like this person is coming in with a message of love, like some sort of small message. But what's interesting is because this is a storyline that has come up a few times in the last few weeks, and there was definitely in yesterday's reading, and then there's also another reading called Fairy Tale Ending, and it was all about this player, and he was kind of like turning things on their head, because, you know, he, like in the reading called Fairy Tale Ending, it was like he was sick of playing the field, like he was over it, and he kind of wanted to just settle down. And so it's interesting because we have this Knight of Cups coming, this Knight of Wands coming forward with this message of love right next to the Death card. So that seems to say that, you know, like there's some sort of transformation that's happening with this player person. And so, yeah, I mean, if you go back and look at yesterday's reading and the Fairy Tale Ending, there's some foreshadowing leading up to this moment. So I'm going to keep going with the reading and see where this goes. But then we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this is the slowest moving knight in the deck. Like both of these knights signify like a movement and change is happening. This is like more of a solid, stable kind of offer, you know, like grounded in reality from an earth sign. And it's slower moving, but built to last, you know. And then next to that, we have the Six of Wands. So this is a card of victory. So, you know, obviously something stable, but then something that's like victorious. And then we have the Eight of Cups. So, you know, walking away from something that meant a lot, you know, that was in a lot has been invested in, but walking towards something that is serving you more better, you know. So this Knight has kind of built a solid foundation and is kind of coming out on top, like rising above the situation, and just kind of walking away from the drama and the conflict. So that's really interesting, you know, because it's almost like this divine feminine has kind of pulled away, and this sort of came up yesterday too, pulled away from whatever drama and focused on, you know, their own journey and on building a solid foundation. And in doing that, they've kind of risen above the situation and just moved on, you know. And like, it looks like in doing that, you know, they've sort of like come out victorious over this Knight of Wands, who is just sort of playing the field and just, you know, raising a ruckus and causing some nonsense. And then this person just kind of took a step back, focused on building a solid foundation, and now they're like coming out on top, you know, because they're walking away from the drama, and now maybe this Knight of Wands is realizing, like, hey, you know what, like, this person was solid and I kind of took that for granted, and now they've like walked away, and they're like, maybe it's me, like maybe I need to look at how I'm acting and like reevaluate, you know, because obviously the path that I took didn't lead to the success that this person got to, you know. And so it's almost like this person kind of schooled this player a little bit, you know, about, you know, building something for the long run, you know, built to last. So that's an interesting message. I'm going to pull some more cards from this Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot, just to get some overall guidance, because, you know, what I would take from this is, like, this might be the Divine Feminine here, because the Divine Feminine, I think, came out as, like, the Queen of Pentacles, or, you know, in yesterday's reading. And, yeah, it's kind of like, you know, the whole story of Selena Gomez, you know, she just, like, pulled out of, like, whatever drama that was going on, and she just focused on herself, and in doing that, she sort of, like, you know, had her little comeback, and, you know, now she's built a solid foundation for herself, and, you know, instead of being, like, engrossed in some drama, she's just got herself a new beginning that looks pretty solid and nice, you know. So I think, you know, that's a really classy way to handle, like, you know, a situation of that nature. Okay, all right, so interesting. So we have the Justice card. So this is really interesting because this fell out right on top of the Page of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. So it's almost like this person who built the solid foundation is now getting a message of love, and justice is being served. And that's really interesting because the Justice card has come out a lot in the last couple readings. I think it came out in the New Moon reading, or no, the Harness Your Power reading, in the last couple days. And, you know, this has been a recurring message where there's been this love affair that's been oppressed, and some wrong that needed to be righted because there's a toxic situation that was blocking it. And so this justice and this wrong being righted has been a theme that's been coming up a bunch. So it's interesting because it's almost like maybe, you know, it's the Divine Feminine that has this message come in her way. And then we've got the Six of Wands again. So again, double victory. Like the divine feminine has got the karma in this situation. Like double karma. Like this person was like classy, and like they're coming out on top, you know. And then finally we have the Eight of Wands. So it looks like there's a message coming in, you know. This divine feminine has moved on, and like there's a message of change, transformation that's coming in. So really interesting. It looks like there's some major karma playing out right now, and it looks like a very turning point, like a big turning point, like a shift in the dynamic, you know, like some folks that were up are going down, and some folks that were down are going up. You know, it's almost like the Wheel of Fortune, even though there isn't a Wheel of Fortune. But what it looks like is, you know, this divine feminine is finally, she's in her power. Her wishes are coming true. She did things on the up and up, you know, and now it's like coming back to her. So this is really beautiful, you know. It's like it looks like it's been long coming. So yay for the divine feminine. All right, I got 3 cards that like just fell out. So all right, so we've got distant thunder, clear the air. So clearly there's like a big change afoot, you know. Big changes are happening. And we have rejuvenating rain, clear the past, heal the present. So, you know, that fell out right on top of this. So it's interesting because this fell out right over the justice card. So, you know, justice is being served, and this is clearing the air. Then we have a rejuvenating rain, you know. Karma's coming to the divine feminine. Clear the past, heal the present. And then on this, we have miracles. Expect the wondrous to emerge. So some message of transformation coming through, some sort of miracle, some sort of major healing is happening. So that is a beautiful message for Black Friday. And for the divine feminine, it looks like, you know, a lot of times when you're going through all that, it seems like, you know, you're just getting dumped on, and, you know, it feels unfair, you know, but it's just like you got to keep focusing your karma on the right thing and just building on that, because eventually the situation is going to flip, you know, because karma eventually is going to be served, you know. And so it's just important to build things on your karma and not get so focused on the moment, because, you know, you want to build something to last, right? So it looks like that's happening. So this is exciting. I wish you luck with that, and we'll check in tomorrow with the weekend love reading, I guess. Okay, bye.